Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our first body paragraph for our freedom essay. Now, you have already written your introduction, which some people think is the hardest part of the essay. Some people think the conclusion is. What I would have to tell you, though, right now is you have nothing to worry about regarding your first body paragraph because you have already done most of, if not all of the work for this in the form of your citations and your annotations when we read the Four Freedoms speech by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So today you're just going to put that into a paragraph form in your essay and we'll move forward. So there's really nothing to worry about. Now, as always, I have a worksheet for you to fill out and follow. If you go step by step, your paragraph will basically write itself. You just have to put in the quote and you have to annotate it. So let's take a look at the worksheet that I have for you right now for your first body paragraph for your freedom essay. Now, remember in your introduction, you did not give any real facts or details. Instead, you talked about freedom in general. You talked about freedom in a big sense, and then you funneled it down to your topic sentence, your thesis, which should have been the last sentence of your introductory paragraph, your introduction, and that would have been either the fact that one person can defend the rights of all other people, or that there are many different things that need to happen in order for people to be free. It really depends upon which one you spoke, which one you chose. The genius about FDR and the Four Freedoms speech is that the quote that you pull from that is going to be helpful for either of those essay choices. Depending upon which one you chose, you can use it. So let's take a look at this. This is where you use your best quote from your first major source. We read this unit, FDR's Four Freedoms speech, to support your thesis. Now, your Unit 2 essay is to describe how one person can defend the rights of all people, or, of course, how what it takes to be free. Now is the time to give the best quote that supports your answer to this question. So first thing you're going to do is explain your thesis again. All right, so spend about 2 or 3 sentences just talking about the fact that individual people have the power to defend the rights of all people. So just talk about that. I mean, a great way to start this thing is people around the world are always fighting to be free, but they need somebody to step up and fight for them in many times. Or another way, throughout history, there have been a few bold and courageous people who have stepped up in order to defend the rights of all people. This has happened in all different centuries and all different times and all different cultures. Men have stepped up, women have stepped up, in certain cases, children have stepped up, minorities step up, people step up for people. There's so many ways you can talk about that. So spend 2 or 3 sentences talking about the fact that there are either certain things that need to be done in order to be free, or that one person can step up if they have the courage to do so. So talk about that for 2 or 3 sentences. Boom, now you're done with that. Then go to step 2. And you explain that FDR is a great example of someone who worked to defend the rights of all people, or that he understood what it took to be free. And give me 2 sentences about that, 1 or 2 sentences. Talk about FDR was a fantastic American president who really understood what it meant to be free. He understood that in order to be free, you needed to, fight against bad countries and dictators and stuff like that. Just talk about that for 1 or 2 sentences, all right? So first thing you're doing, talking about the fact that one person can defend the rights of people, and it has happened throughout history. Boom. Second thing you're going to do, say that FDR is a great example of somebody who did that, right? Third thing you're going to do, now it's time to prove it with a quote. So a great way you can say that is, Franklin Delano Roosevelt clearly believed this when he said, and then put your quote. Or another way you can say it is, this can clearly be seen by the following passage or quote. Or, of course, consider the following quote from the speech from Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Four Freedoms speech. Now, one thing I do want to tell you right now is, in that speech, you'll recall Franklin Delano Roosevelt actually lists 4 freedoms that he believes need to be maintained in order for there to be freedom around the world. So you can actually say FDR believed wholeheartedly that certain things, in fact, that 4 things needed to be done in order for there to be freedom. Now, you don't have to quote all 4 of them. How about quote 1? A great example. Consider the following quote from the speech, and then you give one of his 4 freedoms, and then afterwards you say, this passage clearly shows that FDR understood what it took to be free. This is only one of the 4 things that he believed, but it is a great example of, that he understood that. Or this passage clearly shows that FDR was one person who stood up to defend the rights of all people. Excellent. Now, once you do that, you always want to make sure you conclude your quote, right? This passage clearly shows that FDR tried to defend the rights of all people. And then, of course, the fifth thing you're going to do is finish with, this is important because it provides us with a great example of a courageous person stepping up to do the right thing. Or it provides an excellent example of one person showing us what it really takes to be free. Just make sure you finish with, this is important because. So those are the 5 things you're going to do for this paragraph. 1, explain your thesis again. 2 or 3 sentences, right? That people have the power to defend all people, or certain things must be done for people to be free. 2, explain how FDR is an excellent example of this, of either of those 2 things. Give me 2 sentences for that. 3, provide a quote. Consider the following quote from the speech, then give your quote, right? Make sure you're citing it correctly, of course. Afterwards, you put, for freedom speech or the page number afterwards. You know how to do that. Then you have to finish your quote, quote finisher. This quote clearly shows that FDR really believed, or FDR understood that. And then, of course, make sure you finish it one last time with, this is important because it provides us with an excellent example of blank. Once you've done that, you're done with your first body paragraph. Very well done, ladies and gentlemen. Again, follow step by step through this process. And if the best part is, if you did that when you did your annotations for the 4 freedom speech, go back and look at your annotations, your citations and annotations. You should have 5 citations with annotations, and your annotations should already have, this is important because, and this quote clearly shows. If that's the case, you can copy and paste it into this paragraph. If not, if you don't like what you did or you don't have it, then that's okay. Follow these 5 steps and it will do it itself. Everybody, have a lovely day. Good luck. If you have any problems, please ask me.